Welcome to Hollywood Actions. In this video, we are going to explore shocking exploitation films from the 1970s that became so controversial, disturbing, and dangerous that many people believe they should disappear forever. These movies pushed the limits of violence, fear, censorship, and morality during one of the wildest decades in film history. Some were banned in multiple countries, while others were heavily censored. Now let's dive in. 1. Thriller, A Cruel Picture, 1973. This Swedish exploitation film, directed by entity, people, Bo Arne Vibenius, Swedish filmmaker, gained a reputation for combining graphic violence, revenge, and explicit adult content. The story follows a mute woman who is kidnapped, abused, and forced into criminal exploitation before training herself to take revenge against her tormentors. The movie featured shocking scenes that were heavily censored in many countries, while some versions removed entire sequences to secure release permits. Its dark visual style and brutal revenge themes later inspired famous directors such as Entity, People, Quentin Tarantino, American filmmaker. Although it remained underground for years, the film eventually became a cult classic among exploitation cinema fans. Today, it is remembered for pushing cinematic boundaries far beyond what mainstream audiences could tolerate. 2. The Driller Killer, 1979. Directed by and starring Entity, People, Abel Ferrara, American filmmaker. The Driller Killer became infamous for its graphic violence and bleak depiction of urban decay. The story follows a struggling artist living in New York City who slowly loses his sanity and begins murdering homeless people with a power drill. The film's dirty visual style captured the fear and chaos of late 1970s city life, making audiences feel trapped inside a nightmare. In the United Kingdom, the movie became one of the most famous video nasties, a group of banned horror films blamed for corrupting society. Critics condemned its violence, while horror fans praised its disturbing realism. Over time, it developed a strong cult following among underground cinema enthusiasts. 3. Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, 1970. Directed by Russ Meyer, this outrageous satire blends sex, fame, and Hollywood excess into a chaotic explosion of exploitation cinema. Written with early input from critic Roger Ebert, the film follows an all-girl rock band that rises to fame while spiraling into drugs, betrayal, and violence. Critics were confused by its tone, unsure whether it was parody or pure exploitation. Its bold sexual themes and absurd storytelling shocked mainstream audiences. Though controversial, it became a cult classic and is now seen as a wild critique of Hollywood corruption and fame culture in the early 1970s. 4. Black Christmas, 1974. Directed by Bob Clark, this early slasher film follows a group of sorority sisters stalked by a mysterious killer during Christmas break. Though not as graphic as later slashers, its psychological terror and unseen killer concept were groundbreaking. Audiences were disturbed by its phone calls and POV-style stalking scenes. The film was controversial for its dark tone during a holiday setting. It influenced the entire slasher genre, including films like Halloween. Over time, it gained recognition as one of the earliest and most important proto-slasher films in horror history. 5. Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS, 1975. This controversial Nazi exploitation film starred Entity, known_celebrity, Diane Thorne, American actress, as the cruel Commandant Ilsa, who performs brutal experiments on prisoners during World War II. Directed by Entity, People, Don Edmonds, American filmmaker. The movie mixed graphic violence, sexual exploitation, and historical horror in ways that outraged critics and governments alike. Many people accused the filmmakers of using real historical suffering for cheap entertainment, while censorship boards banned the movie in several countries. Despite the outrage, the film became financially successful and inspired numerous sequels and imitators. Its shocking combination of exploitation and Nazi imagery made it one of the most notorious grindhouse films of the 1970s. Even today, many viewers consider it deeply uncomfortable and morally disturbing. 6. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974. Directed by Entity, People, Tobe Hooper, American filmmaker. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre terrified audiences with its gritty atmosphere and relentless horror. The story follows a group of young travelers who encounter a family of cannibalistic killers led by the terrifying Leatherface. Although the movie contains surprisingly little blood, its documentary-style filming and disturbing sound design made it feel unbearably realistic. Many viewers fainted or walked out during screenings, while critics debated whether the film crossed moral boundaries. Several countries banned it because authorities considered it too extreme for public viewing. Over time, the film became recognized as one of the greatest horror movies ever made, influencing countless slashers and helping define modern horror cinema. 7. The Last House on the Left, 1972. Directed by legendary filmmaker Entity, People, Wes Craven, American filmmaker. The Last House on the Left shocked audiences with its brutal violence and disturbing realism. Inspired by classic revenge stories, the movie follows two teenage girls who are kidnapped and tortured by criminals before the killers unknowingly seek shelter in the home of one victim's parents. The film's raw style made viewers feel like they were watching real events unfold instead of fictional horror. Many critics attacked the movie for being too cruel and exploitative, while several countries banned or censored it for years. Despite the controversy, the film became hugely influential and helped launch the modern independent horror movement of the 1970s. 8. Cannibal Holocaust, 1979. One of the most infamous exploitation films ever made, Cannibal Holocaust was directed by Entity, People, Ruggero Deodato, Italian filmmaker, and became notorious for its realistic violence. The story follows a documentary crew that disappears inside the Amazon rainforest, leading a rescue team to uncover horrifying footage of their final days. The movie's found footage style was so convincing that authorities believed the actors had actually been murdered during filming. Deodato was even arrested and forced to prove the cast members were alive. The movie was banned in several countries because of its graphic scenes and real animal killings. Although deeply controversial, many historians consider it a major influence on later found footage horror films and survival thrillers. The 1970s was a decade when filmmakers constantly tested the limits of what audiences could handle. These exploitation movies shocked viewers with graphic violence, controversial themes, and disturbing realism that often pushed them beyond acceptable boundaries. Some were banned, others censored, and many nearly disappeared completely because of public outrage. Yet despite their dangerous reputations, these films left a major impact on horror and underground cinema. Modern horror directors still borrow ideas, styles, and techniques from these controversial classics today. Which of these films do you think was the most disturbing? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching Hollywood Actions. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video with your friends for more shocking Hollywood stories, forgotten movie secrets, and classic film countdowns. See you in the next video.